Anticipate, don't improvise. My process is purely logistical, narrowly focused by design. I'm not here to take sides. It's not my place to formulate any opinion. No one who can afford me needs to waste time winning me to some cause. I serve no god or country. I fly no flag. If I'm effective, it's because of one simple fact. I don't give a fuck.
What is going on, YouTube and X? It's Brendan for Market Makers. Guys, this is going to be a fast video today because my AC went out last night. It is ungodly hot. I'm on like 3 hours of sleep waiting on these texts to show up. But this is critical information for you to have this week. As the title suggests, all of the forecasted rally targets have hit. And you have Wednesday coming. Wednesday's a CPI. Wednesday's a lunar pivot. Why is a lunar pivot important? Well, if you pay attention to this channel, we talk about lunar pivots quite a bit. Not always important, but more times than not, you can also see pivots. That was the low before the breakout rally to the upside. That all happens Wednesday. One more thing that happens Wednesday I want to draw your attention to is I'm putting out a special report video. It is a scorecard on your favorite forecasters on X and on YouTube. We're going to go over that score, who topped, who dropped, where they are in their rankings, and maybe we'll make this a regular thing because it's really, really interesting. I can't wait to share that with you guys. I'll put that video out Wednesday. Follow me on X at Market Canary. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Let's start off with oil. We still have this kinetic fluid conflict. Will it ever end? Will there ever be a treaty? I don't know. But what you don't want to happen is the W pattern to trigger. How does a W pattern trigger? You take out that midpoint fractal, which is right at $94. If you come up, psychological level will be $100. Remember where we are in the 4-year cycle, guys. Where are we? Right in front of the midterms. All the targets have been hit. You got them well, months and months, well in advance. 7,000, 7,500, 7,800 to 8,000. We hit 7,800 last week. Typically what you see in the midterm cycle is you get a summer top, a summer drop into the midterm. And then what happens? The most bullish part of the cycle sweet spot from November until the summer. S&P since the 1950s rallies 20%. NASDAQ rallies 30%. Bitcoin will do a 2 or 3x multiple on top of that. That's what you're heading into. Lee, throw up that chart real quick from Kevin Gordon or that post. Understand how strong the market is, guys. This is important to share this with you. I think Kevin Gordon is with JP Morgan. The Q2 blended growth rate for the S&P 500 is plus 51% year over year. That is a growth rate of greater than 50% year over year. A month ago, the growth rate was plus 23%. 86% of the companies have beat on earnings. It's absolutely phenomenal, which is why you're seeing all this strength in the market still. Let's cover some key points here, go through some charts. By the way, guys, if you want to support the channel, check out the video description. Everything's timestamped below, and you can trade. If you're in the US, check out Bitunix. It helps support the channel. If you're outside the US and Canada, check out SimpleFX. Both those links are there. Be a Market Makers VIP. You want to join us, get my videos throughout the week, jump over to our Discord, click the join button right there on YouTube. If we look at the S&P using our fractal, and why not? Because it's been absolutely awesome. We have our rally. We hit the bull case of 7,000, max bull of 7,500, got the 76. We got the pullback. And now you're getting the breakout. Fractal saying you're going to go up to about 7,900. Remember my bonus overtime target was 7,800 to 8,000. We hit 7,800 last week. Last week, Tom Lee raised his target to 8,000 for August as well. The CPI is key. If that comes in low, expect a surge in the markets. This is critical because it's all about flipping these key resistance levels. But if we get up to 8,000, we're going to look at how this affects the other indices. Very, very key. And then what happens when you hit your target in front of this? You should get your correction. Markets don't crash with 50% growth year over year. Markets pull back, markets correct. Live in reality. Don't live in a delusional world. Okay. You'll miss out opportunity cost of missing epic gains. So if that CPI is hot, it could be the trigger for the correction. Let's look at the mags, but we'll express them here in the ETF. You have a beautiful W pattern here on the mags. Right here, broke the downtrend line, holding above the 786. You're at 69 bucks. If this continues to hold and flips to the upside, remember this is 40% of the market. Market's going higher, guys. I just use it as a guide. When we look at the S&P, here's our breakout to the upside. The market built a line. It drew a line, sideways market, Wyckoff market. Trader Vic called it building a line. When you look at this, on where you at 77.62, there's that 7,800 target. This is a very bullish Livermore pivot. You guys have been following me for a while. You know how you typically break out, right? Jesse Livermore, Wyckoff were friends. Wyckoff called this the Livermore pivot. Typically, you get a retest of your ceiling, which is 76.25, and then you come up and then you make a decision. Can you break that high? If you can, you go to a new high. If you fail below, you roll over, you get a double top, and that's the start of your correction, right? So we don't know where we're at right now, but this is very bullish because you haven't come back and tested this. It's a catalyst driven market. Again, the last lunar pivot gave us the low before the breakout to the upside. Wednesday's a CPI, Wednesday's the next lunar pivot. Watch these levels above you. Fib level 78.69 to 8,000, right? This is what we want to see. Can we extend into this area? And if we can, will we top out and get that larger correction? And just be aware, you don't have to get a correction. Could be a pullback. A pullback is less than 10%. Typically, you get the correction. By the way, when you want to talk about odds of how strong this 4-year cycle is and how strong that rally typically is, 21 of 23 times. What is that, like 92 years? You're talking about 21 of 23 times this is going to play out. So I believe I always trade with the market history, with the market bias, and my overall bias for where we are in the market with phenomenal earnings. I really like this setup. So we want to watch and see what happens, see if we get any type of stretch out to the upside to 8,000. And then if we end up topping out, could be an opportunity for a trade there. Remember last week we talked about the Dow. What level did I tell you to watch? 54K. Why is that? Because the Dow hit our targets. We got our 50K target, got that last year. We got our 53.5 pulled back, and then we extend it above 54, and now we're sitting right here at 54. It's really the same type of setup you're seeing on the S&P. You have an elevated pivot up here. This is a daily chart, and you want to see if you can break out with a cool CPI, break out above 54.8. If you do, watch 56.2. Next level, if you start topping out here, you get volatility and you start breaking down, then watch 53, because that is going to be an area that needs to hold as support, or you can get some weakness there. If we look at the RSP, this is the equal weight. Next level, we hit our first level, 216 perfectly at the 1618. Next level is 223 bucks. RSP's trying to push up. A lot of weight's going to be on that CPI, guys. Part of the reason I think the market can stretch and still get to 8,000, if we get the cool CPI print, where is my highest bias? If I'm considering shorting something, you guys have been watching this channel at all, you're going to know that. 618 to 786. That's the kill box, right? That's where I like to trade, is in reversal zones, whether I'm looking for a bottom or a top. And that top could potentially be 13,000 to 14,000 right in here. Parabolic wave up, 107%. Parabolic sell-off of 30%. If we rebound up to 13 or 14K, obviously the broader market would be going up with this as well, which would also make sense. But just watch this. It doesn't have to get there, but again, I'm just looking at high probability possibilities. That is the zone I would be looking at for the SOX semiconductor index. 13K, 14K, right there in the kill box. And remember, just because you have a double top doesn't mean it has to break down and be disastrous. You come back down and find that RMA again, right? Find the 54, find the 90. I think those are the two RMAs. Yeah, 54 and 90. You could find that target again and just start bouncing around and then eventually going back up, because the bullish part of the cycle is coming up. Let's look at how this affects the NASDAQ on the weekly. Same exact thing. Look where you're on the weekly. We hit our 30K target, actually got up to 31. So you came down and now you're trying to come back up. You want to watch and see if you get a double top. CPI is going to help you with that as well. Cool CPI can get more upside pressure. Hot CPI can start showing the weakness. And where does this line up with the mathematics of growth and decay right in the kill box. Perfect landing spot in the kill box. 786 is 30K. Bullish, if you can flip it, break out, take out 31, you're going a new all-time high, okay? Bearish, maybe CPI is hot. Watch and see if this thing starts breaking down beneath 29K. If it does, you got weakness in the market. Watch the other markets, watch the S&P, get some ideas of what's happening. But typically when I look to trade, this is the key zone to watch. If I want to be bearish, it needs to fail in this zone. If I want to be bullish on the asset, it needs to break out above this zone, the kill box. Let's go ahead and move forward. If we look at the Russell, we talked about the Russell, told you I love that sell-off decline. The RMAs came together. Explosive move to the upside, co-equal high, 3,050. Everything on the Russell is bullish. Daily's bullish, 3-day, weekly, monthly, everything is bullish. So what's there to be bearish about? Seasonal timing of the cycle. That's the only thing to be bearish about. You get a hot CPI, watch for this to potentially break back down, break the uptrend line, and do as you see fit. This would be a trading zone. Cool CPI, you could be breaking out to the upside. And if you do, watch 31.25, 31.72. Those are your two upside targets. A lot more weakness if you break out down below 2,900. But this is the zone right here. You got a co-equal high forming a little bit of a double top here, some volatility up and down, waiting on that CPI print. Which way will it go? Let's look forward here. The DAX gave you these targets a couple of months ago, and look how it played out beautifully. 26.4, 27K. Those are two targets. You came right up to the 1618. Got a nice surge here. Where's the DAX key support? 25,550. The DAX is going to follow the U.S. markets. If the U.S. markets stretch higher, watch the DAX make its move towards 27K. The U.S. markets roll over with a hot CPI. Look for weakness up in this range, which means if you wanted to trade it, then you look in this range where you are, right at resistance, see how the U.S. markets react. And then if you start getting that weakness, you'll see a move back down to 25,550. If it breaks down below that, you flip the RMAs, you're bearish. The correction may have started in the U.S. Let's look at a couple of key stocks. SPCX. I have not added this to my portfolio. I'm staying consistent. I want to see if we get the summer top and drop. However, what we did here on the hourly time frame, right? Because remember, it's the hourly chart, not a lot of history. SpaceX had its first ever earnings report. 25 billion was short on SpaceX. Some of Wall Street just hates Elon, because he's adjacent to Trump. Some Wall Street just hates Elon because of his personality. And of course, you know, I don't care about any of that. I care about making money, and he's a phenomenal entrepreneur, probably a once in 100-year type entrepreneur. I'm very keen on adding SpaceX to my long-term, let's just call it my retirement portfolio. And this was one of the zones I was targeting. Now, I didn't add it here, but I'm very glad to see that we put in a bottom, rallied up 30% since last week. 30%. All those shorts got destroyed, because if we do get a top and correction, we're going to see if this bottom's durable right here at 103. And if it sells off further, I mean, I'm just probably going to blind buy at $75. Why? Because that is a 50% discount off the IPO. And again, long-term hold, not a trade for me. And you're already, when you came down to that 103, you're basically at a 31% discount off that IPO. But again, staying consistent. If we end up topping, getting a correction or a pullback, I want to see what we do here in SpaceX. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla had the gap down. If we come up for a gap fill, watch your 368 to 375. Have some dangerous trend lines right there. But watch that. It's your first level of resistance there on Tesla. Stronger support if you roll back over. Watch your low where you were, just about 300, 275 beneath that. Let's go ahead and we'll look at two more. Palantir. Palantir also crushing all the shorts. And Palantir, key thing, parabolic rise up, strong sell-off. Where are you bouncing back up to? Kill box zone, 786, 618. Watch this. 186 up here at the top beneath your all-time high. CPI, if you can flip it, you're going higher, guys. You got to flip your all-time high, which is at 207. If you can flip it with a cool CPI, if you top out, watch that range. 168 to 185, because you end up making some type of top, and we'll see if we're getting a top in the overall markets for a correction. And Bitminer, obviously crypto adjacent, came right down the target at 13 bucks, 12.91. I mean, look at fibs, guys. I don't know how people don't trade with fibs. Came right back up to a 50% retracement to the upside. Key level to watch here. Watch your 17, but really it's this structure here, 15.5. So this structure here, can you hold above that? And we're going to find out with the CPI if ETH, Bitcoin, and everything can rally up a little bit higher. But again, watch that kill box, 1979 to 2169. Watch that level right there if you end up topping out in this chop, okay? So let's go ahead and move forward. Where is my cryptos? Let's go to cryptos. If we look at the cryptos, Bitcoin's back at 64K. What's the one key level I've been harping on now for weeks? 108 RMA, right at 67, right? It's all boils down to. I'm not going to squish the chart in and show you this. Just understand, 2022, when you flipped the 108 to the upside, you got a 100,000 point rally. You never lost the 108. Back in the pandemic, when you flipped the 108 and never lost it again, you got a 60,000 point rally to the upside for the all-time high. And back in 2019, you got a 260% rally. So everything is about flipping the 108. If you can, which is right at 67, if you can, you got 70, 73, 77 as upside targets. I think we're going to have some clarity here this week with the CPI. Speaking of clarity, it got shelved. They didn't vote on it. Senate goes on recess, so they may be voting on it in the fall. Catalyst for a bottom and a super strong rally. Okay, just keep that in mind. Could we get a possible flush out? Again, I'm 100% open to it. Why? We look over here at 2024. What do? Hit 74K. Where do we flush out to? 50K in August of 2024. Here we are. We had rallies all the way up here, all the way up to 67. But let's look at this drop. Let's just measure this. Let's go month to month, just out of curiosity. So from June, let's take it from June. If we flushed out to 50K, just like we did August 2 years ago, it's a 26% drop. Where's June over here? If we go from June 2024, what do we do to flush out the 50K? 31% drop. Again, totally not unusual if we do that. And look at that. It's just a scam wick down, big power bottom back up. Lee, don't get excited. I said power bottom, big power bottom back up to the upside. But that's what you want to watch if you get a final flush out. What will cause that? Hot CPI would cause that. The largest market in the world topping and dropping would cause that in a correction. So key things to watch. You have support at 57 to 618 from the 2022 low. Need to hold that low. If you lose the low, looking at 50K. Could be the high mid 40s, but that's what we're looking out for any type of flush out. If that top and correction comes, we'll have some more direction this week. Let's look at Bitcoin here on the daily. Again, you've just been building a line. You've been going sideways. You are in a trading range. When you're building a line like this, where are you bullish? Above 67. We just went over the reasons why you're bullish above 67. Need to get above 67. Where are you most bearish? Below 59, right? You lose your trading range. You get above your trading range. This is where you're most bullish or most bearish. This is where you're most bullish. What is all of this? Scalps, day trades, things like that. If you so wish to partake, trading range zone from a swing perspective, break out above 67, break back down below 59. You could actually tighten this up because you got 61 right here. If these wicks, if this started crashing, if you get a hot CPI or oil spikes or yields continue higher, you want to watch these moves here in the market. But that's just the genesis of this. This is what we're looking at Bitcoin, guys. Been very dull, very boring, the crypto space, as you all know. If we look at what we're doing in Ethereum, exited the trading range, bullish, right? That's the first step. And you've just been building a line on top of the trading range. You've been going sideways. So if we get the cool CPI, what's the key steps in Ethereum? Flip 1983. If you can flip 1983, been talking about these targets forever to the point where I'm tired of talking about them. You got 2100 and 2250 to the upside. If you can get more bullish, if you start breaking down and lose 1850, your ceiling of support, it's really $50 increments here on Ethereum. You got 1800, 1750, 1700. And obviously I would look at this with the overall trend. Is NASDAQ topping and dropping? You have that potential double top. Is the S&P rallying a little bit longer and then topping? So these are all things you have to watch, which is why we make videos, which is why we have a Discord. And I would love to see you guys on it if you care to try it out. So watch Ethereum. 1850 is a key level to watch, but really it's much closer to about 1820 because of these wicks. So watch these levels, and it's all going to be keyed on with what happens with that CPI. Solana broke out first, sold back into the trading range, trying to get back on top of it today, hit the 50% fib at 77.23, and now you got a little bit of a hiccup right here. Again, watch what happens with the CPI. If Solana comes up to where the kill box 78.82, so let's call it 79 to 81. If you can flip it, bullish for upside targets. If you fail at that level, then be aware you can be breaking down back into the trading range. A top could be coming in. Why do I say that? Because you have a wave up, wave down, wave mechanics. Watch the kill box zone. $79 $81. You flip 83. Remember that next level target was $90 to the upside. Guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I said it would be fast, but that was almost 20 minutes. Look for that special report on Wednesday, guys. It'll be a fun one. See you guys on the next one.